Hello everyone and happy Pride Month. A couple Pride months back, I shared my story of my self-discovery in being omni, and this time around I wanted to share my story in something else, and I debated on sharing it last year, but I didn't exactly feel comfortable with it yet. And this one is something that's not necessarily, I guess, in the LGBT community. I kind of seen it in and out, but I'm more comfortable with it now, and I didn't want to blindside, I guess, my community. And I wanted to make it more comfortable for my community by putting it a bit more out there. And I'm going to discuss it a bit more in detail, but not too much. So I guess it would be like maybe about 2 years ago or so, I started practicing being polyamorous. Now, what is polyamory or polyamorous? Or just polyamory in general, just use that term. Now, that's a bit more difficult, but I may be wrong because I'm still learning the terms and all of that, but that is when you are in a relationship with more than one person. And this is something that I discovered this kind of world, I guess, because I was scrolling through, I think it was actually Facebook. I was scrolling through probably like Facebook or Instagram, and I came across a artist. I'm sorry if I say their name wrong, but I think it was Meow-t. They recently changed their name because Instagram right now got like blocked or hacked or something. But yeah, and they were talking about polyamory, and it made a lot of sense to me. And then one of their partners named Joko also talked about the topic where you love more than one person and how you have like multiple partners. Now, to be clear, this is when you're in love with more than one person and you have romantic relationships with them. So it's the same thing of you go on dates with them, you take care of them, and it's not just physical. Okay, I'm going to put that out there. And now, continuing the story, as I kept reading their art and listening to the stories, I was like, okay, that makes sense. And I didn't think much about it. I was supportive of other people that were into it, and it just made a lot of sense to me. I didn't think two ways about it. Anyone that wanted to live that style, go for it. It makes sense. It didn't bother me, and I just thought more about my life. I was like, I am a big caring person, and the way I want to be is to continue being a big loving and caring person. And I felt like being or practicing polyamory would be part of it as well. So I wanted to practice that. For those of you that have been with me for a while, Scribbles and I are in a relationship. He is my partner. So he knew about it. He also follows these artists because they have great art. And we talked about it on and off. And I wanted to practice polyamory. From what I've seen, sometimes there are two kinds of people. There are those that are naturally polyamorous, so they naturally feel these feelings where they fall in love with more than one person, and it kind of comes naturally to them. And then there are those that practice it, so it takes some practice for them to be in these kinds of relationships. So I am one of those people where I was practicing it, and we were practicing it, and I'll be honest, we were fine at first, but just like even in a monogamous relationship, we had some difficulties after a year. The first year was fine, and then after the first year, like, we had like a difficulty, but then we overcame it. And even in a monogamous relationship, there are difficulties. But after that, we've been able to overcome them. But now that after the second year, I can now say that I have 2 relationships. I have Scribbles, but as for my second partner, out of their respect, I am not going to say too much about it unless they feel comfortable. But as of right now, I do have 2 relationships. But yeah, that's my polyamorous story, is that I discovered polyamory through some 2 great artists, got on that horse for about a good year, fell off of it, got back on it, and then, to be quite honest, I made some really great friendships through it. I'm still learning about it and trying to improve and just doing the best I can with it. But as I said before, I didn't want to blindside anybody with it, and this is part of who I am, but it's only a little bit of who I am. I'm want to make it clear that I'm not making it like part of like my channel or anything. My channel, my VTuber persona and everything is mainly going to be mental health as of right now and otome. Please don't expect to see me go into these otome games where there's a bunch of male options and me going like, oh, if they all just dated each other or just dated the heroine, everything would be okay. No, that's not what I'm doing for my channel. It's not going to change. What I'm doing now is what you're going to see. I just wanted to share this just to say like, hey, my name is Rosalind Neko and that's just basically it. I like to play otome games. I like anime. I love Kuromi, and that's pretty much it. Just some side notes, I guess. I speak Spanish. I'm learning Japanese, and I guess there's other small stuff, but it's just personal. Like I like pan romantic, and you know, I guess like I'm poly, but any other small stuff like that is kind of personal unless you really get to know me. It's a bit more of like my personal life, so I don't share that a bit too much. But I didn't want to blindside anybody, and I want to make the community more comfortable, especially if I ever start talking about my personal life a little bit more. Like, hey, here's scribbles, and oh, my other partners, and I did this. So I just want to be a bit more open with my community and share that with you. So thank you everyone for listening, and I'll see you Phillies next time. Bye bye.